elect leaders that will not make you tell stories of, oh, South Africa was once good. Well, thank God that you still have timetable. They are still telling you when they will take the lights. Abi? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tola, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing and click on that bell notification icon. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video, which is at least once every Friday. I also have a second channel here on YouTube, Cook with Tola Lusi, dedicated entirely to my recipes. Please go over there and show me some love as well. I create about 2 to 5 minute videos on short recipes that you can just follow and make for your family and friends at home. So please go over there and show me some love as well. I will leave a link in the description box as well, somewhere up here in a card, so you can just click and go over there and watch. All right, so to my OGs, thank you so much for returning back to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking all my videos so far. Today, as you can probably tell from the title, this is something that I will really not delve into, but I just feel the need to mention something, or to just speak up and just tell you some things that I have noticed in all of my stay here in South Africa. Alright, so today I'm going to be making a video totally different from what I usually talk about here on my channel, but there is a need to address these issues because it's another time to make decisions. I'm talking about the voting here in South Africa. Alright, so Cyril Ramaphosa announced some time ago that there's going to be the local government elections on the 1st of November. Now, this is where you have the power to make changes. In the 8 years that I've been here, there have been some changes that are almost too similar, too familiar. You have the first choice to choose who you want as your leaders. And this has been the bane of our very existence here in Africa, not just South Africa, in Africa. We always go back to our vomit. This is something I've noticed not just here in South Africa, but back home in my country. We always go back to our vomit. We always go back to people who have hurt us and promised and failed in the past. We always seem to do things the same way and expect a different outcome. This, in my opinion, doesn't make sense, and it is redundant. It never gets anybody anywhere. Now, this is very painful because in a country that is as beautiful and as well laid out and planned out like South Africa, we always seem to get it wrong with our elections. And I don't know why it is that we keep voting the same people who make promises and propaganda, people who keep making, outrageous and bogus promises and fail to deliver. We still go back to vote them in. This is something that has puzzled me time and time again. This is not something I've noticed only here in South Africa. I've also noticed it back in my country. So yes, it's a very funny matter, but it's not funny because generations are affected, lives are affected by these choices that we make. If you're not yet registered to vote, please go out and register to vote. In a country as beautiful as South Africa, it will just be a waste. Please mark my words. It will be a waste to keep voting the same people in who have made promises and propaganda and have not delivered on their promises. They have reneged on their promises. They have squandered funds. And this is something that, whether we like it or not, it will affect us in the end. I'm speaking as a Nigerian because we have been there before. And now so it takes start. Now, how we take start with this is the beginning. Well, this is not even the beginning. This is like we're midway, because the problem did not start today. It started since. Like I've said before here on this channel, I've been here for over 8 years. And in those 8 years, I have noticed a decline. I've noticed a deterioration. I've noticed a decline. Like I've noticed some serious issues that have gone on for years and years. Just yesterday, I came back from church. I went for a midweek service. And when I got back home, there was no power. There was no light. But that wasn't even what was strange. The strange part was that my neighbors had gone to get a generator. Now, the first place I noticed this was at China Mall, where I went there the last time I went there, and it was chaotic. I noticed that almost every shop had a generator on because there was load shedding in the area. Now, for me as a Nigerian, it's not very strange to see a generator, but here in South Africa, to see generators, to see inverters, these things are strange. This is not something that I'm willing to admit to people back home, that, oh, we also struggle with these things, we also have power outage. But the thing is, with the South African power outage, it is a lot different, because in Nigeria, when you don't have power, at least you can get water, at least you can browse, at least you can do things. But here, almost everything goes to a standstill. First of all, the robots do not work. The robots, what I mean by that, for those who are not here in South Africa, the traffic lights do not work. You do not have internet. You cannot warm anything. You cannot cook anything except you have a braai stand, which I improvise with my braai stand when I don't have power, because I have children and they'd like to eat, and you just have to find a way around it. I use my braai stand just to be able to make something for them to eat, maybe noodles, maybe rice or something. So yes, it's almost like everything goes to a standstill. So there's a lot that is riding on this thing, and here, everybody's looking for solutions like getting inverters, getting generators, it's almost like we're resigning to our fate, because this is how we started in Nigeria. This is how it started out. So this is my humble submission to you, South Africans. I'm not talking about Wikwekwers, that's Toriwa. No, I'm talking about the South Africans, the indigenes, and even foreigners who have citizenship and can vote. Please do what is right. Save this nation from ruin. Save this nation from deterioration, because we are at the brink of something that I would hate to imagine. Look at what happened the last time when there was rioting and looting. Why? Because the people were dissatisfied, the people were hungry, and they'd had it. I would hate to see what would happen in this country if people get fed up with the government. I would hate to see what would happen. So I'm begging you, I have no say in this matter as a foreigner. I understand that. But I'm begging you, as someone who has been in a country where we watched things, or where things went to shit, pardon my French, right before our eyes, and because we kept nominating and we kept voting for these leaders who had promised and failed in the past, you have the chance again to elect yet another set of leaders. Do not do what you have always done and expect a different outcome. It will not work. It will not work. The best you can do is to put sentiment aside and vote for people who can really deliver on these promises and make a change in the real sense of the word. There are things that have happened. There are things that have occurred because of these poor choices that we've made. But we have another opportunity to right this wrong. Let us elect leaders that are not just going to give us promises upon promises and still fail at the end of their tenure. Let us do things that are right. Let us do things that will impact our generation, because we're not just making decisions for ourselves now. Some of us have children. Some of us have dependents that are still going to be in this country years and years down the line. Things are not getting better. Let us face it. South Africa is not as it was when I first moved here. Right now, we are in stage 4 load shedding. For those who do not know what load shedding is, the fancy word that is given to power outage. Load shedding is not something that I look forward to in this country, especially, thank God that you still have timetable. They are still telling you when they will take the lights. Abby? Well, it comes to a time. We also passed through this stage. We had times where when there was going to be power outage, they would tell us, we would know, we would plan towards it. But then it started going off without notice until people started erecting their own transformers back in Nigeria. until people started coming together to make a plan for power in their area, in a country where there's a government, in a country where they pay taxes. You pay your taxes, you pay all these things, and we do that here also. Foreigners also pay taxes, and we do all these things. But don't be fooled that things can actually get worse if you continue to make the same mistakes. Let's put sentiment aside. Sentiment will not get this country anywhere. Things are not getting better. Things are getting worse. Now, there's power outage more than 2-3 times in a day. This is not how things were. I remember that even when I came in, there was nothing. I didn't experience load shedding until about 2015. That was 2 years after I came in. And it was strange. Let us put sentiment aside and vote for people, credible leaders. Vote for people who will put their personal interests aside and do what is right for South Africa. This is my humble suggestion. I cannot force you to vote for whoever. I cannot force you to do anything. This is your country after all. And we are just passing by. But what I'm saying is, we are telling the stories as Nigerians. And we are praying that God will restore our country so that we can go back and all these insults can stop. But please go out and do what is right. This is your home. This is your country. Put sentiment aside and vote for credible leaders. All this noise, all this rioting, it can be stopped with the right leaders in place. This is my 2 cents, guys. Alright guys, let me know your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this video. Alright, so in the comment section, please refrain from abusive comments and throwing shades at each other or at me. This is just my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion after all. This is your country after all. We are just foreigners, queres in your country. So please leave respectable comments. Like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will see you in the next one. Remember to vote wisely.